Hey everyone, Jonathan Shank here, the Outsource Guy. Today I'm going to show you in a few minutes how you can go out and find that first virtual assistant on Odesk. I actually have a job that I need done, and I figured I would just take you along for the ride and show you kind of some of the things that I do. A lot of people, they kind of know some of the basics as far as how to use a virtual assistant, but they kind of are intimidated, if not slightly petrified, about the prospect of actually going out and talking with people. And it's one of those things that the first time you do it, you might have 100 questions. You might know all the strategy and tactics in the world, but really you just got to go out and do it. So I'm going to step you through how I do it, and hopefully that'll answer some of your questions, and you can follow along and do the exact same thing I do, and start going down the road to success to finding virtual assistants. So, and when you find your first virtual assistant, that really is step one on the ability to start growing your network of all-star virtual assistants. So this can be done very quick, and I'm going to show you right now. The goal here is in the short term to find someone to accomplish larger or repetitive tasks. Obviously, if you have a job that is only going to take you a couple of hours to do, it probably doesn't make sense to outsource it because it's going to take you that much time to think about what you need, write a job description, find someone, hire them, explain the job, and look over the work. But if you have something that's repetitive or something that's going to take like 10 hours or more, then it definitely makes sense to use a VA. Long term, though, even if you just had a job that was going to take you 2 hours and you spent 2 hours getting someone else to do that, or even more than that, if you think strategically, you have just started to develop a network of VAs, and they can be all-star virtual assistants if you find that right person. And that's someone that you can get to call on at a moment's notice to help you in your business in the future. And so even if they help you now, and it, like I said, it takes you more time than if you would have done it yourself. Once they know how to do that for you, you can use them for who knows what in the future. So that's kind of the long-term goal here, and that's why it can really make a big impact. I use the Apple method. I'm just going to talk about the steps real quick because I want to get into actually finding someone, but just kind of as an overview and a context, if you haven't heard me talk about it before, basically it's assess the need, post the job, pre-screen candidates, leverage, manage, and edit or end the project. So that's kind of the 5-step process that I use. And so the first one is assess the need. So in my particular case, I need to find someone. I have about 40 companies that I want to reach out to for a different company that I work with, or my own a different side business that I have, and I want to find the decision makers for them. And I have some contacts. There's some research I've done a couple years ago, but I'm not sure if some of it's old. And I also want to be able to see some people in the sales and marketing team. So the process that as I thought through this, the first thing I need to do is I have to verify that the company is still viable, find decision makers of the company, get the UIDs. Basically, that's like the idea that Facebook uses for them. I'm going to try and find the people, find their names, and then I'm going to see if they have a Facebook account. There's different ways you can do that. I'm actually not going to do that in this part of the example because this part is actually going to be just kind of finding the decision makers, but I kind of wanted to tell you where I was going with this, just FYI. And then I'm going to create and post an ads directed at them specifically. So, to go through the 40 companies that I have is going to take me a bit of time. And so I'd like to find someone to help me out with this, and hopefully if they help me out with this and do a good job, then I can find other things for them to do as well. So as I assessed the need, that's kind of when I sat down, and those are the things that I thought through in my head, the things that I needed to get done. Same thing with your project. If you have something that you think needs to be done, just think through the process as far as the things that you actually need accomplished. You don't have to write them down necessarily, but just kind of have them in your head. Some of the skills required that I'm going to need. There's basic web research. That's fine. There's the ability to find people related to a company. That's just the sort of thing that it takes a little more thought. And honestly, I don't know the best way to find some of these decision makers, so I'm going to be relying on trying to find some VAs that maybe have some more experience in that than I have. And it's kind of going to be a bit of a stretch for me because anytime you do a project and you try and find a VA that has skills outside of your own, you're relying on their expertise and their experience, and you're trying to determine if they can actually help you or not. So, this is going to be a bit of a stretch for me, but I like doing that because it kind of helps develop my skills as well as in managing and delegating. So if they have success with similar types of work, that's great. They might or might not. In this example, I'm going to try and find some people very quick. I could wait a couple of days and try and find even more people to apply, but I'm basically just going to try and grab some people and try and get the job done just to kind of show you as a proof of concept. But if I had more time and really wanted to get someone who was really good at teasing out information and doing research to try and find decision makers, I could certainly do that. And again, one thing I'm going to try and look for is good analytical skills. Because again, with this job, it's not just blindly looking and filling out information. You kind of have to have a little thought, and you kind of have to do a little digging to find these people. So I'm going to be looking for VAs that maybe have a bachelor's degree, or they've done other jobs other than just blind web research type of jobs. So those are going to be some of the things I'm going to look out for. I know those will be important and useful for this project. So step one, this is what I'm going to do, is when I post the job, I'm going to first create a small job which can be completed in a few hours for $5 to $10. Basically, I want them to start small. Even though this total project might take like 10 to 20 hours, I really want to be able to start out the gate with just a couple hours. So the scope of this is going to be pretty small at first, just as I'm looking for a couple VAs, or one or two, we'll see. Also, I need to create a basic description that's going to go in my job post. I've already done that. I'm going to show that to you. But it's kind of in general, not necessarily all the details of what you want, because a lot of times you don't want to give all the information you're doing. It might deal, with your specific company, and you might not want to give all that information out publicly. So you kind of have kind of a vague description of what needs to be done, and then for the qualified candidates, you then go and you give them a more step-by-step instruction with all the details, so they have a clear idea of what you're going to do. And that's step 3. Create a more detailed description if required. It's not always required. If you're doing a really basic job, you can basically hit everything you need just in the description. But like I said, in this job, in my example, I did put a bit more detail because it is going to be a bit more involved. Last thing you do in step 2 is you post the job. So I'll be showing you that shortly as well. And just to kind of give you an idea of where we're headed with this, after I post the job, I'm going to be pre-screening candidates. My plan is to find and hire 1 to 3 candidates and try them out. I'm going to compare and contrast the work they do. Now I've hired plenty of people that have done similar work, so I can tell pretty quick if they're if I'm happy with their work. But just to kind of give you a comparison, it's always good to hire 1 to 2 to maybe 3 people just to see, especially if you haven't done this much before, to kind of see different qualities of work, different ways that people work with you, things like that. And again, that's where the ability to just do like a really small $5 or $10 job is really useful, because like for $15 to $30 you can really kind of get a good idea of have a better chance of having someone that works really well with you before you commit to a larger project with them. And again, the key is having them work for just a few hours and get back to you. That's the biggest mistake people can make, is they have them go off for like a week and then they spend a bunch of money, waste a bunch of time. We're not going to do that. And then you evaluate their work, pick the best one, and you scale up from there. So that's my plan of attack. We'll see how it goes. And the next thing I'm going to do here is go over to Odesk and post a job. Okay, now I wanted to give you an example of the description I'm going to have for the job. I like to have a job ID. I like to have the date of the work being done. Have some instructions. Now this is the specific instructions. These are the instructions that I'm going to give to the few qualified VAs. So I've written that up. I've spent a bit of time Again, not much, but I was able to think through, what type of information would be required for the VA to get the job done. So I've written a little description there, and then also I've written a smaller description, a more vague description, as far as what's going to be posted on the job. Now, a couple things here. I've put what's called an Easter egg right here. It says, please start your application with the phrase aluminum siding. That's to kind of weed out people that, just copy and paste and apply to jobs in bulk, and also to kind of check to see if people are, if they're being observant and they're detail oriented and they see that. Sometimes you can kind of hide that somewhere in the middle of the job as well if you want. I'm not that on this one. It's not really that critical, but I just wanted to show you an example of that. And another thing that I'm doing, as I say, should be 10 to 15 hours worth of work to kind of give them an idea for the scope of the work as well, and also to tell them how much effort I think is required, because someone could read this and say, look to find marketing managers, decision makers for 40 different companies, and they might think, oh, that's like 80 hours, 60 hours, whatever. And if they think that they can do it, it's going to take them that much time to do it, then that's probably not going to be the best fit for me. But if they're thinking, oh, well, I can do this, I'm good at this, it's very quick for me, then that'll help them kind of see that if make sure we're both on the same page as far as level of effort. Now, if I hadn't done things like this before, I might not put how many hours I think it might be, and in that case, I might have to do a little digging as far as similar types of work. It's not a huge deal, and in fact, if you're just starting off, you don't even have to put that. But it's just one of those little things that might help the job go smoother if you were able to say, hey, I thought through the job, here's the level of effort it's going to be, here's the size of the job. The more information you can give a VA ahead of time, the more likely it is you're going to find the right VA and it's going to be a successful project. Okay, here I am over on Odesk, and I'm going to post a job. So this job is going to be under the category of, let's see, administrative support, because it's kind of a basic web research. And let's see, web research. Okay. Title of the job, I'm going to, let's see, what did I say over here? Marketing manager research, that's a little vague. I'm going to say research to find managers, find name of managers for 40 companies. Okay, now I have my description here. Again, this is my brief one. Copy that, paste it into there. Let me zoom in a bit here. It's kind of small. There we go. Okay, process as follows. Verify these. All right. Oh, another thing, as I said, please must be able to start now and work for the next 2 to 3 hours. To start with. So right now it's about 10 p.m. Central Time. That means it's about 10 a.m. In like India, Pakistan, the Philippines, Southeast Asia, where a lot of people will be applying. Basically, after I post this job, probably 20 minutes later, I'll start getting VAs that will be applying, and this will let them know, hey, I'm looking right now, and we can hopefully get this project moving pretty quick. Won't be something that'll take back and forth for a day or whatever. I mean, if I really wanted, I could just post it tonight and look in the morning. I'd probably have, I don't know, 20 to 100 candidates depending. But that being said, I'm going to try and see who comes up tonight and see what kind of work I can get done. What skills are needed? Research. Let's see. This isn't really that important. Alright, it's not really anything technical. So, how would you like to pay? And it's going to be, so I could do a fixed price, and I could do an hourly. For this one, I am going to do hourly just so you can kind of see some of the variety. I'll do a fixed price one later. But I'll do this one hourly, and I'll show you as we go through the VAs, the different prices and different qualities and things like that. That'll be kind of interesting to look for. How long is it going to be? Less than a week. Estimated workload as needed, less than 10 hours a week. Well, it's not really part time. I'll just put that. That's fine. Contractor type. Doesn't really matter. I actually prefer to work with people that are independent as opposed to agencies, because with agencies you don't always know what you get, but I'm going to leave that for there. Marketplace visibility. Only Odesk users can find this. Only people invited. I'm going to say anyone. Attach a document. This is where I could attach the files for additional information, but I think I'm going to elect to just do that for people that apply and that I think are good candidates. So that's pretty much everything. If you go to advanced, I'll show you a couple things here. Hourly rate. Yeah, this might be good. I'm not looking for people that are like $8 an hour. There's lots of people that are going to be like $2 that could do the job. Maybe for the right person, like $3, $3.50. But we'll see. And if it's someone who seems to have a really awesome resume and I could use them for other things, I might even pay more. But for this job, we'll just say 2 to 5. Okay, now minimum feedback. I do want at least a 4.5. Hours billed, I'm going to say at least 100. Preferably 500, but I'll just put that. Any location, any level of English is self-assessment. That's fine. So that's it. In just a couple of minutes, I'm ready to go. So all I have to do is hit post the job. And then typically within 20 minutes, this job is going to be live. Oh, look, it can take up to 20 minutes. I think Odesk actually just goes and reviews it to make sure it's up to their quality of standard and you're not doing illegal things, and you have a decent description, that sort of thing. Almost every job I've ever posted has posted right away, within 20 minutes. So there we go. We will check back in a bit and see what kind of VAs have applied.